Hello again. I am Christine Merle from the Social Emotional Learning Center at Children's Institute here in lovely Village Gate with an inspirational backdrop for this month's topic. Today we are talking about success. If I were to ask all of you to define what success means for you, I'm wondering what you would say. I think it's very much based on our different perspectives. However, when we look at the youth that we work with, too often that success is completely attributed to their academic status and not to all those other things that kids do that make them successful. As a classroom teacher, I was often tasked with assigning students a number and possibly one short comment in order to say whether or not I felt they were successful. So a student may boil down to an 85 and it's a pleasure to work with in class. However, there's so many attributes that I can't say that I recognize and love in some of my students. So at the end of every year, I would create Merle Kingdom Classroom Awards, and these awards were given for things like friendliest lab partner and most contagious smile and most likely to be on Broadway for those students that had a flair for the dramatic. Those awards allowed students to see that I saw what they truly were like as people, recognize their personal strengths, and know that probably the material that I taught them was going to fade in their memories, but my belief in their abilities would help them gain in confidence and self-esteem. So this month, as we really look at success, I'm going to ask you to focus on 3 areas with the youth that you work with. First, look at a group setting. Have you really thought about how you would define success for your classroom? Is it all tied to academic content, or are there other things you want them to build? Do you want them to become more diverse and be able to work collaboratively with each other? Do you want them to show more empathy and kindness for each other? Can you ask the kids, hey, let's come up with a mission statement together as a group. What are the things we really value? Post that on the wall and refer to that mission statement and that principle whenever you feel behaviors are starting to stray away from what you really believe makes kids successful. The second area of focus is going to be on individual goal setting. Although it's great to have those group goals for your classroom or for your setting, we also want you to think about, have our students set individual goals for themselves, and some of them separate from academic content. So students may be focusing on completing more homework or increasing the length of their paragraphs, but we also want them to think about those behavior skills that help develop them as people. So are they working on team building? Are they working on taking leadership roles now that we're at the end of the year? Are they working on building those empathy and diversity skills? So really asking our students to examine themselves, reflect, journal, and think about who they want to be at the end of their school journey with you. In order to see our students through that lens, I ask you to spend just a little bit of your personal time investing in their interests. So I made it a point to try to attend at least one event or activity for each one of my students every year. And I was secondary, so that's a lot of kids. Thankfully, so many of them played on similar teams that I could knock out 5 or 6 kids at a time. But I remember one rainy Saturday morning sitting at an equestrian event just so that she could look up as she was trotting around the ring and see my face there for her. Those relationships translated back into my classroom, and I'm hopeful that it helped kids build some confidence and some self-esteem, as well as those connections needed for our kids nowadays. In a perfect world, our report cards would be able to say all of those wonderful things about every student, as well as list some of those challenges that they may have. But until that time, until our report cards can catch up with that social emotional development we want, as well as academic content and success, it's important that anybody who works with you spend some time really letting kids know where we see their strengths, separate from their academic success. Until that time, do what you can to really reinforce those kids' successes, even those successes that they can't see in themselves. Very few of us attribute a happy, productive life to a grade that we may have received so long ago in a course far, far away. So instead, we really think about the relationships that we made, some of the challenges that we faced, and the small goals that we set along the way that make us who we are. Please see our website for more details and resources. We have a goal-setting template available for you this month. I look forward to seeing you again next month. Have a great spring. Bye.